Hello and welcome to my preliminary decklist video for the GD02 set. So this is the second set in the Gundam card game, and my view on it overall is that the cards aren't really that game-changing, I guess. So I'll try to showcase some of the lists that I think will be either relevant in the meta or might be just fun to play. And I'll try to give a little explanation of how the deck works. And if it's an already existing deck, I'll just go over through some of the changes that I think they might adopt. That's it. So the first deck list, Green White Wing. This deck hasn't changed much. The real addition here is Rick Diaz. You have white decks in general now have another good early blocker to play. So I'm expecting to see a lineup like this, like 3 Award, 4 Alfred, 4 Rick Diaz, or something similar to this lineup in most white decks that aim to play for the mid or late game. They might run this exact same line, maybe change these awards for race commanders. So yeah, I'm expecting white decks to play this package a lot. Also, we have Vargama. This helps a little bit in the mirror match. If your opponent tries to go for Wing Gundam and reach into it, it just won't work. Also helps you against breach decks like the Zef to breach deck, and they are more situational, I guess, but can be useful to mostly in the mirror match. For you can also look into changing this build to add death size. It's up to personal preference. I think this list performs well both against aggro and in the mirror match. The freedom is a good answer to opposing death sives, and you don't need to add a third pilot that can potentially breach. But yeah, it's up to personal preference later. You also run Sword Strike because it's just really good to stall out game. Next, we're moving on to One-Year War Rush. So yeah, as you can see, the list that I think it's optimal, it's just you just play the same list you were playing before. Yeah, you can consider changing a Gale group for another resolve. Some people done it before and it hasn't really changed the results that much. So yeah, you can just keep playing the same deck if you want. But if you want to try some new cards, you can look into the Titans package. The real what it does is basically you have access to Hyzak, which is a Titans vanilla, which you can just use either Garibaldi Beta or Varzon to buff it to 3 AP. And having a 3 AP unit lets you deal with EX bases, lets you deal with Rick Diaz that will now show up in white decks. Also makes it kind of counts as a pinger if they decide to block with Alfred, because if they block this, if you buff this attacks for 3 in the block with an Alfred, you just need a gun tank to finish that off, get rid of one of their blockers. So it just helps with trades in general and bump up your numbers. You can also use them in themselves to reach 4 AP if needed, or if you have 1 in board and 2 in hand, you can just play these, attack for 5, and get rid of a base like that. Although I think if you want to play a more Xeon focused list, you kind of lose some of the tools that make the Xeon package strong, like Rickdom. But yeah, it's something you can consider, I guess. Another list that is blue-green, also a more Earth Federation focused list. The idea is that you also run the Titans package, but you also have access to Geno Ace, which is a level 1 cost vanilla that is Earth Federation. So this can enable the Gigam often. The only thing I look into including would maybe a Rizel or another G fighter, but I haven't really seen a slot that I can cut for that. But yeah, maybe in testing I might consider cutting some stuff, maybe like one or two of the Titan cards, try the Rizzo or fighters. We'll see. But this is a nice deck to try, a bit less stable than the 1 year war rush list. But I think this has potential for like way like this has a higher ceiling, I guess. You can hero much easier with this list. Next we have purple blue aggro. It's like looks like the same deck list that I've been topping. The only big changes now that you have the first form, which is an amazing link for Mikazuki. So yeah, you just like got better cards. You also have access to 4 more vanillas if you want to play. You might want to cut 2 vanillas for like something else. Maybe you can also play the new Rio Seigo, which cycles a card and deals 1 damage to one of your units to, like, for example, enable this without needing to pilot. If you do that, maybe you can consider running another copy of the 4th form, since now you have more pilots available to link with it. Also, maybe like copy of. These are the changes I'd consider, but I think this list is pretty much solved. Yeah, it will be just like small change compared to what the deck was already. Next, we have Epion blockers. I think this like the whole Epion package will be a natural evolution for the unicorn decks. As you can see, you run the same early game package as other white decks. The only difference is that you're looking more into package. Like Togis is much less bricky than the form mode. Epion is a bit more bricky than the destroy mode, but since you kind of only need to run 2, I guess it's like better since you have less dead hands more often. Zex is a worse pilot compared to Banager. In theory, since it's like, especially if you don't have a link for it, it's just H1 instead of H2, so it doesn't pair well with the blockers like Banager did. But like having access to the Togis link that like kill something, draws you a card, rest something, and if they don't deal with this, you can just like keep killing units, resting and drawing cards. This is a very powerful engine. This also, like, if you manage to get to an Epion, this card just like it's game winning. It will either like kill 2 units and draw 2 cards, or will just like attack, and if they block anything, you just restand the Epion and like attack again or kill one of the units and draw a card. So this, if you manage to get to an Epion, your board is essentially unblockable, or the opponent will be very punished if they try to block. So yeah, really good finisher for the deck. I think what the deck really needed was a finisher that also has a less brick pair that actually impacts the early game. So I think this package is superior to the unicorn mode, and I think this deck is just a natural evolution. But we'll see. Maybe there are some unicorn enjoyers that really like doing the whole combo and stuff. I think the pieces of this combo are like less piece reliant, I guess. The cards by themselves can be played by themselves often. Now you have, yeah, like you don't really have much problem with Epion being a later game card because you now have a much more stable early game. But yeah, we'll see how the meta evolves, and I think the blue white list might look like very close. Next we have red blue ping. Not much changes. Like you can just consider the Kibali package. This just like has suppression, so and basically the same thing that Banshee did by attacking 2 fields. The difference that this can get like value every turn by like doing 2 damage. So if it goes to the grind game, this is a better package. You also have access to more pilots. This also pairs with Kshatriya. You can also run one Banshee, since you now have a better late game pair, I guess. Although this you still run one. Some people just cut this entirely. I think running one is still good because like the payoff is just too huge. The problem is that you can most of the time just do these once. So yeah, I think just a slight improvement to the late game of this deck. Some people might even not run this because it's kind of slow, but we'll see how people build their decks once the set deck. Next, we have a white-red Neo-Zeon deck. I think this is how white decks will evolve into, as like same early game package. Just stall now with the addition of Sword Strike. Keep stalling, like same thing as Green White Wing. Your only change is basically the top end of the Sinanju, which just constantly deals damage or something if your opponent doesn't deal with it. And like Jubilee can just like you can like attack with Sinanju, deal 2 damage or something, and use the Jubilee to attack and also deal 2 damage to that unit and likely kill. So you have a very like good top end that if you see both in the board at the same time, you can just like keep getting value from, and it's like very good late game combo, very good features. They also work really well by themselves, but like together they are amazing. Then we have the Gundam. Since you don't really have very good targets for Vesalius, I guess Gundam helps you cycle some cards if you see like too many of one pieces, and you maybe look for like more blockers to help against aggro. Maybe just like want to get rid of these like cards that you mostly play to synergize full frontal, I guess. And just get rid of them and look for like actual relevant. So yeah, I think this is just a generally good base. Maybe if you get like better red cards in the future, this base might see more play, but we'll see. Next, we have the clan deck. The clan deck is kind of it's like you have really good cards, but you also have to play like some bad cards to go alongside with it. Like the whole green clan cards, like every green cards that has clan is kind of bad. The best one is the red Gundam. Like it doesn't really do what you want it to do. It's like buffing attack. The deck already has a pretty high attack count, AP count already. Buffing AP is not really that relevant, I guess. Only breach 1. If it was breach 3, I guess it would be more relevant. Like it only works if your opponent doesn't have a base. If they have a base, most of the time this is just like doing nothing. So yeah, this card is like a very situational card, I guess. Shuji also is a kind of bad pilot since it like its only effect is like scrying 1 and it attacks if it's linked. So also like 1-2 stats aren't really the best in this game. Like there are very few units that can benefit from a 1-2 pilots. These red Gundams are not them for sure. Now the good cards in this deck is the both G-Quexes. This one not so much. It's just like plays a level 4 unit, but yeah, your level 4 unit playing cards are kinda bad. Yeah, I guess at least like you likely play something that you can link with Shuji. So at least you have that play, and it was probably designed to be that way. Uh, yeah, the real good cards like the GQX level 5. If you have another clan unit, when you link this with Machu, it gets first strike. So Machu will look at the top card. If it's a clan card, you add it to your hand. So you potentially go +1. The downside is that you kind of have to play a lot of clan cards to hit this consistently. And then you have the like this kind of requires you to already have an unit on board. Since you don't have a 1-cost unit, you can't really have a clear board if you want to play this on level 5. But yeah, if you manage to fulfill the conditions for this card just becomes amazing. 6/5 first strike that can potentially draw a card, just a huge tempo swing in any board. Even if it kills like a unit that your opponent played last turn, it's already like really good. But if it kills the linked unit, you just get so much value from this play that it can potentially just win the game. Like, that play can win the game by itself most of the time. Then you run the clan base, like this is the last worst one of the clan bases. I guess you can use it to bump like one of your early game units to hit a base and then use the breach one to actually get some damage through. You also have access to a searcher package in this. This is more situational, but I guess you can use it to stack the top four machu in this case scenario. Still, you can you likely do just like use this after you link machu, so that's it. And this is just like top 3 generic searcher. I hope they print more cards like this for other archetypes. Sad that we only see it in green archetypes, but yeah. Level 1, this is like the best searcher in the game, and I hope we have more in the future. For overall, like kind of mid deck, but this card is just so good that it carries that's my my opinion on Clan. So yeah, moving on to Shard Temple. I wouldn't. I'm still like debating if I should call this temple, but yeah, it's just a you run 8 chars, you just run all Xeon cards, since most of them already link char. Since you're already running a lot of Xeon cards, since you're playing white and you have a lot of filtering, why not play Big Exam? Like you can get a lot of Xeon units in trash. And so like Big Exam just feels like a natural include in the deck. You can also run like Turning Point in History, but it's a bit more situational since time you just rather like play another than spend time cycling. Already have like cards to cycle to like base and or are already boss plays besides Link. And yeah, I think like Big Zem is the is the kind of payoff you want. You can also try like to run Wing Zero, like maybe 1 or 2 copies, because we already have so many cycling that by the time that it becomes relevant, you can just kind of find it if you need to, and just like ditch it. Rick Diaz also like is decent at controlling boards, or like you have a base or either this one or the EX base. You can rest it and like keep attacking with this, give -2 to a blocker, and this can just like attack unpunished for it. So yeah, kind of a mean deck, but it it has logic behind it, I guess. There is logic behind the madness. Next we go into purple white rebuild. This is talking about madness. This deck is like completely insane. Not because it's good, but it's like I like playing like purple decks or recursive decks in other card games. So this was my attempt into making a kind of recursive deck game now. So you run things you fill out the trash like Freedom. This mills 2 when it's destroyed. You infection just like cycle the card. All the Ryusei goals do the same, just cycles card. Uh, so you use these to fill out your trash besides just like playing throughout the game. It also fills out your trash. And then you go for like since you run this decisive last resort, you try to run as much purple units as possible. And like you have commands that recur, like these recur level 5 or lower units. Sadly, you can rebuild to have like an infinite value engine. These recurse pilots, this can like you can like link something with pair something with rebuild, grab these and use this to grab another pilot from trash to link with something. Like rebuild opens like a recursion engine for any command. So you can recur like Fatal Strike to keep removing units, Striker Pack to keep playing blockers. You can like you can recur this. Not sure if it will be worth it most of the time, but you can just like the late game, if you need to get rid of ring zeros and things like that, you can just keep recurring this. The vegan package also helps you, like, also like this recurs this unit in specific, and this can just like keep like killing units to deal damage to opposing units. So this helps against swarm decks, and also like, helps you make a board if you need more board presence, I guess. Hermes is just a generic blocker. Elfrith is just a generic blocker. The only besides rebuild and Elfrith try to go purple. And Barbatos plus Mika is just like a really good combo that will draw all your cards. One of the very few ways you have in purple white for now to have like card advantage. So you run it as like the more cards you see, the more cards you send to trash, and the more cards you send to trash, the better, more things you can recur. So yeah, this is the idea behind the deck. It's not very tested yet and might not be a real deck until later sets. But yeah, these are all my 10 deck lists that are like worth looking into in the set. And I hope you like this. If you want to check, I have a guide on MetaFight talking about strategy and heuristics, like basically tools that you can use to improve your game, analyze games in general, some deck building strategies, and like it just a strategy guide in general to help you become a player. I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Like you guys already know. I hope you liked it. See you next time.